What's up, guys? This is the Living the Dream podcast. I'm Sam, and welcome back to another great episode where we dive into all things blue collar, whether that's climbing a ladder or crawling in a ditch. We cover everything. So how about you go over to the YouTubes? If you're already here watching this, you probably are. Give us a like and subscribe. Drop us a comment. Follow us on Facebook. We're also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So how about you guys just sit back, relax, crack you a cold one. We'll do the rest. Let's dive into it. All right, guys. Well, we made it through another week. Here's to surviving that. There we go. Nice cold and crispy one. Make sure we peek it up. So I got my cold beverage. Hope you guys have yours. If you're driving, don't grab the cold beverage just yet. Wait till you get home. But we're going to dive into a topic that I don't know that a whole lot of people have talked about, and I think more people should, because if you've got somebody in your crew and like they were really getting after it and they were really excelling, and then all of a sudden they were just getting by, and they're just doing what they can to keep their job. So term for that one is quietly quitting. Okay? So it's not, they're not like, all right, I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm giving you my 2-day notice, which means I'm quitting today. So they're not going quite that far. Oh, that's delicious. So the quietly quitting it's that employee that has either, I'm going to say it can go either way. It can either be the employee that's been giving their all and they feel like they got shorted or they got caught in the promotion trap. We'll link to that episode up here. But you can be the average employee that was doing pretty well and was moving forward, and maybe not the greatest, but maybe you didn't get noticed as much as you wanted to, so you've just kind of given up and you're not going to put forth any extra effort. It's just doing the absolute bare minimum of what it takes to not get fired. Okay, so let's see here. So Michael Jordan was once asked, I got a little quote here that I found. Michael Jordan was once asked what he thought his best skill was. He didn't say it was his ability to dunk from the free throw line or his scoring ability. His answer was, I was coachable. I was a sponge and aggressive to learn. The easier you are to lead, the further you go. So that kind of ties into, and I know that was kind of a big swing and a jump there from talking about quietly quitting to, being coachable. But part of avoiding the quietly quitting is you have to be coachable as well as an employee or a stakeholder or however it is that your company just, refers to you as a whole. So you've got to be coachable, and you've got to put forth that effort, and take those suggestions, take those hints, those coaching moments, and grow from there. But okay, so we kind of went that way, and I'm So the quiet quitting is nobody sees it coming. It's the exit that nobody talks about. And it's where that employee that was growing and excelling just gives up. And it's not, they haven't given up entirely, because, they're still showing up to work and they're still doing what they need to do, because a lot of times nowadays what it comes down to is well, this job isn't terrible. It could be worse. And I'm making decent money, so I'm just going to continue to do what I have to do to keep this job. till maybe something better comes along. Or, maybe there's still a little hope even in that person that they will be noticed and they'll get to excel or grow. So you've got to keep that in mind. One of the things too that managers need to look at is when you have that guy that is excelling at a high level and they're doing great, and all of a sudden their numbers start to drop and they're just not, they're not as go-getter as they were when it comes to new projects or tasks or taking on more. They're just kind of, they're in the back of the line and they're making sure they're sitting on their hands, so that they don't accidentally volunteer for anything. And they try and avoid being voluntold that they're doing anything as well. So, you get caught in, you can also get caught up in the promotion trap. And this kind of ties into the previous episode to where you've now, so you went from being the best at your skill. Say you were a drill operator or a machinist or a bonder, say that was, you were the best at that, and, everybody noticed it and you were the go-to guy or girl, and now you've been promoted. So now you went from the doer to now you're managing the numbers and you're trying to get everyone else doing it, but maybe you weren't really trained on how to do all of that, or maybe nobody bothered to show you what all of these numbers and stuff that you're looking at now really mean. So now you're stranded and you're like, holy crap, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle this. And you're stressed. And it's rightly so. In any new position, you're going to have stress. But the important thing is that you reach out and you let people know that you are struggling. And sometimes, and it may not be a feasible thing for whoever's around you to help. They may not know themselves. And it may just be you're stuck in that situation. And that's what can breed a lot of quiet quitting, is that you've got stuff, you get tasked with things that you aren't really trained or prepared to do, and now they're beating you over the head with it, and you're like, well, I don't even really know how to do it. No one's really trained me this. And you get to that position or that point to where you're just like, screw it. I'm just going to do what I can to try and fly under the radar and maybe not get fired. I've been in that situation. I've had a couple of desk jobs, and I tried to do like the manufacturing engineering, and it just didn't work out for me. I'm too hands-on. I'm too involved, and maybe it was just the companies that I worked for that it didn't work out for me there. Maybe that position wasn't tailored to my skill set. That's another thing too, like we've talked about on the promotion trap, is, look at people's skill set. Where do they work the best? What is their strong suit? And try and put them in those roles. Try and help them to grow in those roles and those positions. And that way that, one, they're comfortable and confident there. So you let them grow and get better in those areas, and then you can start kind of sprinkling in the other things to help them grow and change into maybe the position that you want them to be in, as opposed to just being like, well, you're a manager now. Here you go. Good luck. We know you've got this under control. So you don't want to do that, because that's what will lead to quietly quitting, because you get overwhelmed. That's where I had gotten in that position. I wasn't meeting their expectations, and I had specifically asked on multiple occasions, hey, how can I do this better? What would you like me to do better? Their response was, do it faster. Okay, well, I'm obviously struggling with doing things faster. Do you have some suggestions based off of what I've shown you that I'm doing now that maybe I could cut some corners? Like, well, just do it faster. And that's all I got was do it faster. And it got to the point to where after the second write-up, and it was the same thing again, I just finally was like, all right, whatever. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna collect my paycheck. I'm gonna do what I can to try not to get fired, and hopefully it works out. That was the shortest job I've ever had, and the second job that I really feel like it was the only job that I ever really got fired from, and I don't really think that it was my fault. I mean, sure, I could have improved somehow, I'm sure, but I don't feel like I was getting the proper direction and proper training to improve myself. It was just do it faster. And so I got to the point where I was like, well, I'm just going to do what I can do. And if I can't, then great. If not, oh, well, I guess they'll tell me. And I just wrote it out until they finally fired me. And, you know, to be honest with you, I had all of the write-ups and all of the requests for me to do better. And then I took it to the unemployment office and I collected unemployment. And sometimes you just get into those situations, and there's no avoiding that. And a lot of times the quietly quitting, that's kind of just that's how it's going to play out sometimes. You may just ride it out until they find a way to get rid of you. I don't suggest doing that. I would at least try and find someone in the department, someone outside of the department, you know, and be like, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm struggling with. And I don't really feel like that I'm given the opportunity to advance. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with telling people where you're at and what you want. I mean, it's also one of those things, too, you've got to approach it right as well. You can't just be like, yo, man, you totally blew me off, and, like, you promoted Larry over me, and, man, I'm pissed, okay? Like, I'm totally way better than Larry is. Well, maybe you're not way better than Larry. Maybe you're the master of your craft, but you're not a great leader. You're not, maybe there's some qualities that Larry exhibited that you didn't, okay? So in those scenarios, instead of getting mad at somebody for getting promoted over you, ask, how can I do better? What can I do to, you know, what was he doing that's different than I was that maybe I can improve upon? And some places will offer you that information, and some companies may not. And that's just where you've got to make that decision that, you know, is it time for me to sharpen up my resume and share it with the rest of the world? Because, you know, it may not be the right fit for you. I don't recommend anyone quietly quitting in a company with the intent of just staying there forever. And I don't know that anyone would, really. I don't see how you could. I mean, I guess some people probably could. It would drive me nuts to just, like, get in there and Groundhog Day, day in, day out, do the same thing over and over again just because I need a paycheck. I want to enjoy what I'm doing, at least somewhat. I mean, there's going to be days where you're like, God dang it, why did I even put feet on the ground this morning? But for the most part, you know, do you enjoy what you're doing? Do you enjoy the challenges? Do you enjoy the tasks? Do you, you know, see a future in that position? You know, these are all things that you got to take into account. But you can move forward in another company and not just sit stagnant where you're at. Now, you know, so there's something that, and I don't really, this is Shinar Wood is the gentleman that kind of gave me another inspiration. I'm just going to have the guy just create topics, just have him send them to me weekly and be like, hey, you know, I'll give you a little kickback here. But he had this where it was build checkpoints, and it says, you know, monthly one-on-ones. What's grinding you right now? What small wins matter that nobody sees? I don't necessarily agree with I don't know if I agree with the monthly one-on-ones, because if somebody's already in a struggle that they've kind of given up and they really don't want to interact, then I think a one-on-one would be, and I will say that a lot of the quietly quitting can be in a lot of scenarios to where maybe that person's being micromanaged, and it doesn't matter what they do. It's always going to be, well, you didn't do it the way I wanted you to do. So sitting down with that same manager in a one-on-one is probably not going to be the best solution. You're going to be, the person's going to be anxious going into the meeting to begin with. They're already irritated with the manager because they feel like they're being micromanaged. And, all they're trying to do is collect a paycheck. So I don't know that the one-on-ones is, like a scheduled monthly one-on-one. But I do think that if you see someone checking out, even though they're clocking in, you need to bring them aside and be like, hey, man, I noticed you kind of slacked off a little bit lately, and you seem like something's bothering you. Do you want to talk about it? Do you want to tell me what's going on? What's got you, what's bringing you down? And it could just be something as simple as something outside of work, and they're dealing with a lot. So, they're struggling. It's a lot of times it's really hard to leave home, especially with today's day and age of the cell phones, and you have the immediate, interaction with everyone in your life. Sometimes it's hard to separate home and work and really focus on work. So sometimes, you just need to sit down and be like, just let them dump. Be like, you know what, gosh dang it, blah, 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 all this stuff at home's going on, and it just really grinds my gears, and I'm bent out of shape, and I hate it. And, I enjoy that. I'm glad that I at least have this as an escape, because at this point in time, my home's not the happy place. It's not my place to recharge, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, and that right there may be just that conversation that they needed to have. And that's that opportunity for you to reach out to them and to break that silence and to bring them out of the quietly quitting. Or it could just be one of those deals, too, that maybe they feel like they're being overlooked and they're not getting the help that they want, or they're not getting the training that they want, or that they've been overlooked for a position and they're frustrated and they don't feel like that they even got an opportunity for it. So that's something, too, that, maybe you can sit down and explain to them, well, this is what happened and this is why. And we'd like for you, we'd love for you to be in this position, but we kind of feel like you need to do a little more refinement in this area. And, just taking that goes back to what I was talking about with the Michael Jordan thing, is you have to be coachable. And somebody explained to me here recently that, when you come into this world, you don't know anything. You're a baby. You have no idea what's going on, and you're observing and you're taking in everything that you can. And a lot of times that's how you need to be at work. Is, you just need to, any opportunity you get to learn something new, or you overhear something, or you've got a contractor that comes in, or something along that lines, just, act like a baby. Not like throw a temper tantrum, act like a baby, but, act like a baby. You can't really talk. You can't really move. Just sit there and listen and observe. And you'd be amazed at the things that you can retain. And then when you get to that point, too, to where, maybe the time can evolve right then and there, and you go from a baby into, early childhood, and you start asking questions. But again, you're still taking in the information. So you got to be coachable. And that, I feel like, can resolve a lot of the quiet quitting. But a lot of it, too, is the managers, is you've got to be observant. And I know I've had some great managers that have probably avoided me quietly quitting, because They saw my slack off in production, and they saw me not putting forth as much effort, and we're like, hey, what's going on? And I'm the kind of guy too that I don't keep a whole lot to myself when it comes to that scenario. Like, if I'm pissed off, I usually try and bring it to whoever it is that I'm pissed off at and just let them know if I feel like it's worth it. But sometimes it's not worth it. Sometimes you just keep that in your pocket and just say to heck with it and roll on with life, because you can sit there and stew over it. And the thing is if someone has pissed you off so much that you're stewing on something, this is a little side note. If someone has pissed you off so much that you are stuck on something and you are stewing on it day in, day out, they're winning every day that you're letting that eat you alive. Okay? Every day that same irritation is hitting you, it's just growing. It's like poison ivy. You're going to continue to scratch at it, and it's going to continue to spread, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. So the best thing you can do, smother it. Put some what is it, Campho-Phenique, or what's the other one? Calamine lotion. There you go. That big pink stuff right there. Just take that, slather it on that problem, suffocate it out, and roll on with life. Or, I guess you could view the calamine lotion as you're confronting the person and be like, hey man, this is what you did to piss me off, and I'm not happy about it, and I'd love for you to help me resolve it. So there's that option. So I guess what I'm getting at today, and I know I kind of went on a rabbit trail there, but what needs to be done is, if you're quietly quitting, if you're in a position right now to where you just feel like you can't go any further and you can't, like you're being left out, go to management, go to your lead, go to their lead, find somebody and talk to them, and just ask them questions, simple questions. What's concerning you? Bring it to their forefront. Maybe they didn't even notice it. Okay? And give that a shot. If it comes back and they give you the answers that you're like, you know what? Screw this. I'm out anyhow. Carry on. Go find another job. Don't just sit there idly, because we need those productive people. And we'd love for all of you guys to be productive people as well. Managers, pay attention to your team. When you see that guy that was a rock star and that was putting forth the effort, and he withdraws, and then he's not putting forth as much effort anymore, pull him aside. Talk to him. Ask questions. Don't beat him over the head about not producing. Ask the questions. Find out what's going on. What's the root of the problem? And move forward. Guys have got it. Communication is probably the biggest thing that will hurt a company. If you aren't communicating, then nobody knows what's going on. So reach out to your employees, reach out to your managers, and let's not quietly quit. All right? So this has been Living the Dream Podcast. I'm Sam, and I'll see y'all next week. If you're late, you're lost.